welcome to WEC Talk, the podcast series from the FIA World Endurance Championship. In this episode, we catch up with Rebellion driver Bruno Senna at home in Monaco. We learn how Jota Sport is helping to battle the coronavirus in the UK, and we hear from our Louise Beckett about the current state of play in endurance racing worldwide. But first up, the CEO of the FIA WEC, Gérard Neveu. He brings us up to speed on the changes to the calendar. Tell us then about the plans for the end of Season 8 first for the World Endurance Championship. Le Mans been moved to September, so what about other races in Season 8? How is that going to work?
Our first concern was to make sure that we don't destroy the sporting model of the Season 8, which 8 races. So it was important to maintain a fair approach for all the competitors, because depending what performance you have made at the beginning of the season, you have to race for 8 races and not one less, which can change totally the classification at the end. So as soon as Le Mans decided to remove, and I think it was the only good decision that the ACO can take, and Pierre Fillon took the right one, to move to September. We knew that it was not reasonable to imagine to race or to set up a WEC race before end of July or August regarding the travel ban and all the unknowledge we have with the exit of the current crisis. So we said, okay, at least we have to race one race in August, and we decided to postpone Spa, which is a good rehearsal, as it was the plan to do just before Le Mans. And this is important for the WEC competitors because they didn't race since Austin, February, can you imagine, a long time ago. So to prepare Le Mans, it was better. After Le Mans, you have to take at least 3 or 4 weeks to recover well. So to organize a race somewhere in Europe end of October is very challenging. And we had a current contract with Bahrain. Here it was easy to set up because we are doing a chipping for the freight, which is not very expensive, and we know that the local organization is absolutely perfect on the sporting side, easy and not very cheap destination, not very expensive destination. On the same time, one important thing: this race of Bahrain will replace the race that we didn't provide, unfortunately, which was supposed to be Sebring in March. And it's a longer race than the regular format of 6 hours with a calculation of the point, which is bigger. And it will be still the same in Bahrain with 8 hours races. So it was the perfect place to finish. We play a very close partnership with the FIA on this calendar revise, because this is always very difficult to change dates and schedule on the World Championship. And the FIA took the right decision to support with an internal process, which is an urgent process. The president can make the validation himself, and it helped us a lot in order to adapt quickly the calendar and to provide visibility for the competitors, and it has been really appreciated.
So we'll get to Bahrain, and that will be the end of Season 8, which is going to end up actually almost being as long as the Super Season. Season 9, how is that going to start? Where do you anticipate that will begin Season 9?
The first concern that we take in consideration regarding the Season 9 is not really the healthy crisis, because we believe reasonably that in between this crisis will be fixed and under control. Fortunately, because the medical staff is doing an incredible job all around the world, and I'm sure the scientists will find a solution to cover that. But for the next season, what we take in consideration first was the economical crisis that we can have just behind, because in any case, at the exit of this crisis, we will have to face to a big economical impact. No production for few months, a lot of difficulties for many companies in the world, and not the small ones. So for sure, we will have to be careful, because it will be a very tricky solution. And the thing we have to provide in this case is time. You need to take a little bit time to make sure that you know exactly where you are, how you can set up. Same for the priorities. Priorities have to do a deal with the gentleman drivers, for example, or with sponsors. And if you ask them now, please be ready to make your entry fee for next season, nobody will able to answer at this moment. The people will say, hey guys, stop. We need to see how we recover after this incredible crisis, and we need to see where we are and how we can be next year. We believe that with the decision to delay the start of the next season in March 21, it provides us at least 6 months, 7 months more than it was the plan at the beginning, and it provides more time for the partners, for the people, the team, the manufacturers to set up something solid. It provides also more times for us because we will need to deliver not just the start of the season, but the full calendar for next year. And probably we will adapt our decision in the coming month, I will say, regarding how much is the economical impact after this healthy crisis. It will determine, for example, the number of races or the destination or the structure of the calendar, if you prefer. So I think that to start in March makes sense. After that, if you ask the destination, I don't think this is the right time to say, but you don't need to be a magician or to check with the crystal ball to know where we can go in March, because normally there is only one place for us. We will have to be ready to change a lot of things. And one of the first things we'll have to do is to try to be less sophisticated and to get the life more simple for the partners and the people. So if we decide to do this regular annual calendar next year, starting in March, finishing by November, the idea is duplicate the same for the coming years, because you cannot play and say, okay, guys, we do like this, but I'm changing and I'm finishing too early. No, this is a huge, motorsport today at the world championship level is a huge industry. And the people needs to have visibility, needs to understand exactly which way you decide to go. They are ready to go very fast with you, but they need to make sure that there is a good track and with a good visibility at the exit of the corner. So we have to clearly say, no, guys, we make simple. I think that the idea to have the reverse calendar was probably a very good idea because it works very well. But now, and this is not our choice, the current situation obliged us to change the plan and to readapt with the easiest solution for the team, for the partners, for everybody. So it will be starting March, finishing by end of November, and of course Le Mans in 21 will be back in June because Le Mans is in June. I would like just to conclude with a short message, if you permit me. I would like just to say, motorsport is something very important, and I believe there is a huge future because I never feel such a big support than we can feel now since few weeks, with a lot of message from fans, from competitors who say, okay, we have to stay strong and be back. So there is really interest for that. But we will have for sure to reconsider many things next year to make sure that we can provide a sustainable solution for all the partners and the people in the future. That's one point. And the second point, before to arrive at this stage, we have to fix the current situation now, which has nothing to do with the motorsport, is with the healthy condition of the people. So we have to follow exactly the recommendation, stay at home, stay safe, take care about your family. And we have also to support all the people who are suffering directly about this virus now, and supporting also all the medical staff who are doing an incredible job all around the world.
Well, great news there about the Canada from Gérard Neveu, now joined by Louise Beckett. Louise, we've got a plan now for the end of season 8, which is absolutely crucial, isn't it?
Yeah, it is crucial, and I think Gérard explained it very well there, and also making the point that it is still quite fluid because we're living in this time now where we don't know what's happening from day to day. But the one thing that I wanted to say from that interview is that it's clear that they as in WEC, ACO and FIA, have been really considerate with regards to the current climate. The most important thing, as Gérard said, is health. Then we can look at the financial impact. Then we can look at getting back to normal life and then get back to racing.
There's obviously been a lot of transatlantic chat between the governing bodies of sports car racing, IMSA in the US, FIA, WEC over here with Le Mans, to make sure that the rescheduled Sebring doesn't clash with Le Mans. So we should still hopefully see our American contingent coming over in September.
Yeah, it's a real shame that we couldn't get to Super Sebring this year, but that's what's happening at the moment. And like you say, they've made sure that Sebring, I think, is happening in November. So they've made sure that the Porsche USA guys, Corvette are still free and available to be at Le Mans in September, which is perfect.
And that may well help to drive convergence of regulations as well. The more conversations there are and the more sensible talk there is, then hopefully the closer our two rule books will get, which has got to be for everybody's benefit. Now, of course, Gérard also made the point that there are going to be long-term financial implications from what is basically a 3-month, maybe even 6-month shutdown of the global economy. And it's not just at World Championship level that that's going to be felt.
No, with the LMS, they've announced their calendar starting in July. They've reduced it down to 5 rounds. And of course, that's because we've got less months to race in now, or potentially race in. But you've got to remember, a lot of the guys in ELMS are gentlemen drivers. So, all of them are funding these racing programs. So they've got to work out where they're at as well.
Yes. Predominantly, even if their businesses are ticking over at the moment, their budget is now being spent keeping roofs over the heads of their employees. So that's a very big consideration. Well, now, of course, there is lots of racing going on, not in the real world, but in the virtual world. And lots of the WEC drivers are getting involved in esports. I think, obviously, the summer of 2020 is going to be the summer of esports.
Absolutely. There has definitely been a boom. And I think we should do a poll and find out how many of our WEC drivers have sims set up at home, because I reckon it's easily, 80%? What do you think?
I think it's a pretty high number. I mean, it is, and I'm sure this is how they sell it, a useful tool for learning tracks and working with setups and just keeping yourself race sharp. But it does get in the way of family life. And
is that how they sell it to their wives? Yeah. I spoke to James Collado a couple of weeks ago, maybe a little bit more, and I was talking to him about esports. And he said, I haven't got a setup. He said, oh, I couldn't. My other half, he's got a young child. My other half wouldn't allow it. And lo and behold, James has now got a setup at home.
Well, he's doing better than Bruno Senna, because we're going to talk to him later in the podcast. And he was bemoaning the fact that he is watching all of these guys that he knows, that he's raced against, raced with, online, having fun. And he's stuck in a small flat in Monaco with nothing. Exactly. I don't think he even has a controller. So he is feeling Billy No Mates when it comes to the esports.
Also within the WEC paddock, there are people and teams that are really actively getting involved now. We've got Team Project One. They've got a charity esports championship and a podcast at the moment called Race Against Corona. And our Portuguese friends, Antonio Felix da Costa, Felipe Albuquerque, Andy Prio, actually he's not Portuguese, but they all had a race last week called Fund Race, which was Pachito was part of it as well. So they're all getting into it.
And it's not just the online fundraising as well. A number of the teams, and we'll hear from Sam Hignett at Jota Sport shortly, are getting involved as well, because they have manufacturing ability that is sitting almost idle at the moment. So they're getting involved in helping with medical equipment particularly. That's where we are at the moment. We'll catch up with you again next time and try and see how the world is shaping up as the summer heads our way.
Look forward to it. Take care. Stay safe.
You too. All the best. Next, I caught up with Sam Hignett from Jota Sport to find out how they are keeping themselves busy.
Well, we've been busy on the engineering side of the business with 1 or 2 guys in operating the CNC machines, doing bits and pieces for French medical equipment, which was an existing customer. And then from that spawned the face shields. So we've been using our 3D printing capability to design and manufacture some face shields for the NHS.
This is obviously a big story, having that personal protection, that barrier layer to try and stop the people who are looking after the worst cases catching it's in very short supply. And so what sort of volume are you able to turn out?
Well, at the moment, it's pretty minimal. We're churning out about 70 to 100 units a day. And we're pumping them straight into the NHS distribution centre, and we're donating those ones straight into the NHS. But we're just now looking at building up the tooling to injection mould them, which would bring our capacity up to something more like 1,000 a day if we can get that off the ground.
So the NHS, Britain's National Health Service, is the network that has all the hospitals, all the doctors and all the other medical staff involved. And what's the sort of demand? I mean, you were saying, you know, we're looking at 1,000 a day, and you think, well, that's an awful lot of people. But what's the nationwide demand for that, do you think?
Well, it seems to be huge. And, you know, I think since we put a little story about it on social media, a lot of commercial entities have picked up on it. And we've got requests from high street banks for when they reopen that the tellers will want to wear these face masks. And, you know, so it's not just the NHS, it's going to be a lot of retail applications, etc., in the future needing them. So I think the demand could be huge. It's just nice to be able to do something at the moment for the NHS.
You know, with modern technology, 3D printing, essentially you design it on a computer, you plug it into the machine, and it makes it for you. I mean, it's a fantastic option to have, isn't it? And how does that work for the race team normally? What would you manufacture with the 3D printer?
There's all sorts of bits and pieces that the guys manufacture, from little cooling ducts for racing cars to the plug assembly. You know, when you see a driver change and they've got like a T-bar that plugs in their radio and their water, we make a lot of those that you see up and down the paddock. All sorts of bracketry and bits and pieces. It's really more for prototyping. If we're developing something, a bit of tooling to see if it will fit or if it will work or if it can be changed quickly, then we'd 3D print it first before machining it.
Now, in terms of how many of the team are working down at the factory, what's the numbers that are involved in this?
Well, it's very simple. So the machines run 24 hours a day, and then it's literally 30 seconds to assemble these shields. So at the moment, there's only one engineer working on the project. Obviously, if we got up into the bigger yields, the 1,000 a day, then we'd need a few more guys on site doing it. But yeah, at the moment, it's just one guy who's managing the whole project.
Well, it's a fantastic opportunity to be able to put something into the system and to try and keep our healthcare professionals safe. So, Sam, on behalf of them, I'm sure, and everybody else, well done for getting that underway. What are you looking at for the team, though, in terms of when we get released? How quickly does everything come back up to sort of race readiness?
I think it'll be reasonably quickly. So we will see the freight back from Sebring next week. So literally when the guys are allowed back to work, there'll be containers in the yard ready to unload. And I don't think the rate of work will be dictated by the calendar, more by the team's enthusiasm to get off their sofa and back into the workshop working.
Yes, I think everybody's champing at the bit, aren't they, to get out and get something done. And actually, just the mention of Sebring, you sort of almost forgot that very nearly happened. You know, that's only a month ago, and yet the planet has changed so much since then. So, yes, who knows what sort of world we're going to be looking at by the time we next get to walk around a paddock, and actually whether we're able to come up and say hello and shake hands, or we'll still be distancing ourselves a little bit from each other.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see.
It will. Well, listen, great work by the Jota Sport Group, and we wish you all the very best with that and to ramp up production. And listen, thank you very much for talking to us.
Pleasure. Nice to speak to you.
Finally, for this WEC Talk, a chance to catch up with Bruno Senna. Well, he is at his European home in Monaco, and have to apologise, I'm afraid, for the quality of the line. With everybody dotted around Europe and so much internet traffic, it's not always the clearest, but persevere, because he's always great to chat to.
Hey, Martin, how are you? I'm in Monaco right now. It's been home for a few weeks now, so quite a strange time.
Now, did you get trapped in Europe when all the travel bans finished or started rather, or were you planning to be in Europe anyway at this time of the year?
I was planning to be in Europe. I didn't know exactly how long this would go for, and I was suspecting that countries that would get the turn the lockdown later, such as Brazil, for instance, would restrict me in case Europe would sort of reopen before. So I didn't want to risk being stuck in Brazil for anything that could happen. Well, I guess it's everybody's on lockdown, so it didn't make any difference.
Obviously, Sebring was almost a race. Now, presumably, you guys were already in Florida, ready to acclimatize and get ready for the race at that stage.
Well, it was actually quite a lucky one for me. I booked a flight on the Friday because we were testing on the Sunday. On the Thursday, I meant. And when I got to the airport, it was a 6 a.m. flight. When I got to the airport, I got the news that the race was cancelled. So I was literally about to board the plane and to Germany, and then on to the US. And then Bruni was there as well. Gianmaria Bruni was there, and we both got our bags removed from the plane. And then we just came back home. So very lucky not to have gone all the way to the US and then just have to find some way to come back.
We're now looking at hopefully starting in the end of August, early September, which gives you quite a lot of time to do what? What are you doing while you're in lockdown in Monaco?
Well, not much. Of course, we cannot leave home so much. So actually, it's been quite interesting to be home for such a long time. I'm not used to being home for more than 2 weeks. So this is actually very strange times. But I've been doing a lot of training. Here in Monaco, we can still go running. So I've been doing plenty of running lately, and this is good for the consistency of the training. It's almost like a pre-season. It's going to be, I guess, a very long pre-season. Cannot go hiking and stuff like this, so it's a bit annoying because running around Monaco is a very small place. So at least we can go outside. The weather's been nice. Luckily for me, we have also a TRX suspension training thing here, so I can do all my normal fitness training, not only cardio. So on that side, things are normal, and then trying to entertain myself as much as possible. My girlfriend lives with me, so we are trying to keep each other entertained as well. But I guess there's only so much you can do at home, and sometimes it gets a little bit boring. So try and rest as much as possible.
Are you a cyclist as well, or are you just a runner? Because I know there's an awful lot of very big hills just outside of Monaco that a lot of the racing drivers and a lot of the pro cyclists use all the time. So do you get on the bike as well?
I used to do it quite a lot. I was doing 6,000-7,000 kilometers a year on a bike a few years ago, but with all the extra work from doing McLaren work and racing, I just don't have enough time to go cycling. So it's a bit frustrating to come back every time, go riding with the guys and being, not progressing or struggling, or even like just having the pain on the bottom from sitting on the saddle after not being on the saddle for a couple of weeks. So I've been doing more running, and now they're not really so happy about people cycling as well, especially if you're more than one. So at this time, I don't think cyclists are having the best time either.
Yeah, group rides are definitely out. And of course, the whole point of everybody going out for as they always say, a quick spin for, 150 kilometers or something is the coffee stop in Italy when you get there. And if you take that away, I'm sure quite a lot of the regular cyclists have lost some of their interest, at least in it.
Yeah, for sure. And also cycling at home on a roller is not particularly enjoyable. So cycling is not so easy now. Running is a bit easier.
Now, what about online gaming? Were you a gamer before all of this? Occasional or not really at all?
I used to play lots of card games when I was younger. Since I moved to Europe, I never had any sim rigs or anything like this. So I'm actually a bit jealous of the guys who are doing some racing online. I don't have a sim rig, so in this case, I won't be able to do it. I've been researching at some opportunities to maybe buy something like this, but I don't think my girlfriend will be very happy if I have a full sim rig here in the in the living room.
It's interesting, isn't it, though? I'm sure you've watched some of them online, some of the races online, that pro racing drivers, no matter how good they are in a real actual car, they are getting absolutely slaughtered by all these guys in their teens and early 20s who spend as much time on the sims as you guys do racing real cars, but also, you know, with the fitness and all the other stuff. So the sim racers are just unbelievably good, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. For me, the fact that they are so consistent on the sim without feeling it's quite impressive. The one thing that I see, I've been watching a lot of the sim racing, and I think the thing that really puts real racers in a bit of jeopardy, let's say, against the sim racers, that we think that if you go on some curbs and if you go on the grass and stuff like this, you know, you're gonna have a real effect. But in the sim, these guys are doing lap after lap after lap, and they don't really respect so much the real laws of physics. They only respect what the sim is doing. So I guess they have more of an open mind than real racers. It doesn't really matter the age. I know a few guys who are older, but they are still great sim racers, and they just drive where they shouldn't be driving in real life. So it pays off in the sim. I'm sure that if they try that in real life, it won't pay off so much.
Maybe for some of the real racing drivers who are spending a lot of time online, that might be an issue when we get back to the real world with real physics as opposed to artificial physics.
I think especially for endurance racers, obviously, because a lot of them, you see them really taking every curb. I mean, I watched the Petit Le Mans race, the I race here, and even Max was taking all the curbs on the S's down after the chicane on top of the hill. That doesn't exist in real life, but that makes that section flat for a GT car.
Well,
and
actually, in his real life, Max does that, doesn't he? He does things that you can't do and you're not allowed to do and that don't work. And I think perhaps that's just his natural flair of racing. I think that translates quite well.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, but obviously reactions, grip, and so on the curbs. I'm talking more about GT cars and the endurance racing. You know, those things, you know, you won't be able to survive 10 hours banging a car like this. So it's quite an interesting thing to see how sim life is more, let's say, forgiving than real life. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's really entertaining. You can spend hours driving and, you know, getting some more ideas of the tracks.
Well, I think the other thing that you guys, particularly endurance racers, learn is patience, right? You can't just send it 10 laps, get it done, bang, 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 car will survive. But you guys, I think, find it a lot harder to just force the issue every single time. I think that's a mindset that you've been bred into by quite a lot of hard experience, probably over the years.
Well, the difference really is that sim racers are not team players. They are just racing for themselves. Whereas when you're in a real race car team, you are aware of everybody who's doing all the work to build the car, to run the car, to find sponsors, to, you know, just a racing team. Everybody looks at racing as an individual sport, but racing is the biggest team sport in the world. So sim racing is, on the other hand, is not at all. It's a proper single person sport. So, you know, if you crash, it's your own problem, and the poor other soul that you crashed into. But you know, that shows the difference between sim racing and real racing in more clear terms.
Talk us through your 2019-2020 season 8 of the FIA WEC. What do you think it's been like so far?
It's been a very strange season, of course, with the of performance with the balanced handicap, with the performance handicap. Sorry, it's been you know, sometimes too strong for one, too strong for the other. Of course, it's better than just one car winning every race, but you know, everybody at Rebellion says this. You know, we just want to go racing properly. You know, we don't want to just be so fast that the Toyotas are nowhere. We want to have a proper race. I think Bahrain, we got that taken away from us by the Ginetta taking me out in turn 2. I think in Bahrain we would have had a really nice race against the Toyotas, and unfortunately we were out from that, and then the gearbox issue. Most of the race has been either too strong for Toyota or too strong for us, and it's a bit of a shame, to be honest. But somehow I hope that we can get a balanced race. Well, Spa at least, and hopefully Le Mans, some proper balance between us, and then we can have a good race for the fans. We're not only racing for ourselves; we're obviously racing for everybody to be entertained, and we just want to have last lap, still fighting, and then enjoying it to the end.
That first lap incident in Bahrain really skewed the balance, didn't it? Because you guys could well have been really quite close with Toyota, and so that could have played on. But now that you've got that win under your belt, you'll get a little bit of that performance balance. Toyota will be released a little bit. So as we head into hopefully one race before Le Mans, Spa in August, that could be quite interesting to see how much things have moved.
I think Spa can be quite an interesting race if we get when we get a little bit more performance handicap. I think Spa would be a good track for our car. It's mostly high speed, and our car likes that. So hopefully we can have a Bahrain type race in Spa and have a good race against Toyota. In Le Mans, if the rumors are true and they just get everybody as fast as they can, I don't think we have a real chance against Toyota. So it might be another boring Le Mans. So hopefully they'll balance us out a little bit. And then Bahrain again at the end of the year should be quite interesting if everything goes to plan. Hopefully we can get back to enjoying ourselves and racing and working as soon as possible. But the most important thing really is to keep everybody healthy and well. We all have our loved ones, and we don't want to see anyone struggling or sick. So if we do this right, hopefully we have the least impact for the least amount of time possible.
A sentiment I'm sure we can all agree with. Well, that's it for this WEC Talk. We'll be back in a week with more. But for now, from me, Martin Haven, it's thanks to my guests, to Bruno Senna, to Sam Hignett, to our Louise Beckett, and of course to Gérard Neveu for bringing us up to speed with the state of play as it is now. We'll see you next time out. Goodbye for now.